Guys, thank you for your time. I think how I'm thinking of dividing the next 45 to 50 minutes is I'll give you a quick overview about myself over the next 3-4 minutes so that you can just put a story to the face. The next 30-35 minutes, maybe I'll touch upon a few aspects which I think were important for me during my graduation days. And then we can trail it off in the last 5 or 10 minutes by talking a little bit about any questions you have, something you want me to focus a little more on, or if you disagree with something, please go ahead and I am willing to learn. So, yeah, so quick overview about me. I am a Maharashtrian. I was born in Nashik. Due to my father's transferable job, I've been lucky enough to live in quite a few states. So I've stayed in Maharashtra, Gujarat, little bit in Delhi, a few years in Assam, and most of my education happened in Pune because my parents were very inclined to teach me in the Oxford of the East, as they call it. And most of my schooling and my engineering happened in Pune. I did 1 year of tech when I worked for a company called Amdocs. It's an Israeli telecom IT company. From there, after a year or so, I realized that this is not something I can do for the rest of my life because I was literally coding in COBOL and Fortran. I'm not sure whether you guys even remember those or know those languages because they are legacy languages now. So then I decided, but I didn't know what to do. So I continued my job, but I gave my MBA, the CAT exam. I also gave my GATE exam. And I was also thinking of giving my GMAT because I really didn't know what to do because I didn't want to do this. Then had a few mentors, luckily, at that point who helped me gauge what I need more. Help tell me that GATE is probably not the solution because this is where you will be ending up again after 2-3 years down the line. And MBA is something which was a slight knit in my armor because in my BE I did a project which won a few projects, and at that point in time we wanted to commercialize it, but we didn't know the ABCs of either marketing or strategy or finance. So MBA was the way to go. Did my MBA. That's where I met Ashish, and he taught two amazing courses. Both had the acronym GBE. I'll come to it a little bit later in the talk. But after 2 years of my B school, I did my MBA in finance, and then I joined investment banking, where I did a few years in JP Morgan in the India and London offices. And then I think switched a couple of banks, and now I'm with Avendus Capital, which is a investment bank which does fundraising for startups, and been lucky to be involved in quite a few good startups which have been raising funds in the recent past. A few of them are An Academy, Dream 11, Swiggy, to name a few, which you would have heard of. There are a few others which are in the B2B space, not very known names. So that's a quick overview. I'll probably, in case you have any questions about me, feel free to ask, or maybe we can take it up at the end. The 3 or 4 points I want to discuss about, and I've tried to bucket these because otherwise I can just go off on a rant for 40 minutes and there's no method to all the madness. So how I've divided this talk is maybe I'll spend 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes on each of studies, vocation, and career, which probably is the most important. I know it's a cliche, and some of you who have the screen off might be saying कि क्यों आ गए इस lecture के लिए, but it's outrightly probably the most important leverage you'll have in your life. The second is personal development. It's something that has helped me a lot in the last 5 years, and I wish I had started working on it when I was your age, 18, 20. And the third is around friends and family. I think this is one very underrated feature of your life, where if you leverage your friends and family well, this is something that can take you leaps and bounds. And in the friends and family bucket, I also have mentors as a separate head, which I would want to talk about. And the last is others. We can think of it as something miscellaneous, which don't fall into any of these three buckets. I would want to talk about these as well, because these are some things which mostly go unnoticed. But if you try and solve for it very early in your life, it might just give you an edge by the time you are in your 30s. So just a quick disclaimer, I might see away from the screen from time to time, and it's not because I'm disinterested. It's more because I have a very weak memory, and that's why I want to just go back to my notes. There are a few notes that I have made, just a few pointers so that I can remember all the points and come back to you. So the first one here is vocation and studies. I think you would have heard of this before, but I would want to emphasize a little bit of it more, because in your entire career over the next 30-35 years, you would probably spend around 60 to 70% of your waking hours studying or working. And it is really important that you nail this one down really well before you enter into the working world, because you're currently at an age where you are probably just completing your schooling, completing your college, and you're going to enter into a new world where what you have studied and what you are doing in your work, how much command you have on it, is going to give you a lot of leverage. Just to give you a glimpse of it, how important studies have been in my career, is that it's just given me a leg up in everything that I have done. And the first one is probably where I've been able to make good friends, and this probably is a feature where we don't focus a lot on, because while we are studying, we think that studies gives us good marks, gives us a good job. But at the end of the day, how it also helps you is making conversations with people you did not have conversations with earlier. In your class, you might have a couple of guys who are also good at, but there's no common thing to talk about. But because you are good in your studies, maybe you can strike up a conversation, and because of that, one thing might lead to another, and these guys might become your assignment partners going into the next assignment, or maybe in your second year or third year. And that is something that has helped me, because in my second, third year, because I was slightly better at studies, it helped me form a very good project group, and that led to us making a very good B project, which went on at a national level in a few competitions. A few other advantages which I feel being good in studies is you are always in the good books of your teachers, and that gives you some unfair advantages at times. There will be times when things are not going your way. The teacher will go out of the way to help you out, because the teacher knows that you are a good student. There are times when it was not possible for me to go for a viva at a specific time, and I had to make a special request to the teacher, and the teacher accommodated. I would like to think that it wouldn't have been possible in the normal course of business. I think the last but not the least, studying also has a set of serendipity benefits. To just give my example, I was sitting in London working on my desk, and a person comes to me, says that this is a Z spread of a bond. I am not able to find out what the exact value should be. And luckily, because I was good at bond pricing, I explained it to her, and that led to a conversation. And one thing led to another. Obviously, we started talking, and today that person is my wife. So, so I'm not saying that studying well led to that, but yes, it helped being a conversation starter at least. So that's the first do of all the do's that I did, which worked well for me. I was telling this exact same example to my brother the other day, and he retorted saying that, "Bhaiya, I don't agree to what you're saying, because I can give you examples of people who haven't worked, but things have worked out well for them." And obviously, he started riling out names like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, who've all dropped out of college, did not study during college, but are in the top list of successful people financially today. So one thing that I taught told him, which probably I would want to highlight to you as well, is that while yes, that is the right answer, that there are few people who have done well, but what happens when you don't study well? Things start becoming more binary in life, wherein for a Mark Zuckerberg, it would have become very difficult if things wouldn't have hit off well for him with Facebook or whatever the first social network was called. Uh, One, he was probably one of the most brilliant people the world has seen, and secondly, it's not all of us that can get that level of success. So just it's a game of percentages at the end of the day. The chances of you making a 1 versus a 0 becomes much more difficult, and there are always more examples, and we only hear the survivors, like the names that I just mentioned. So it's really important that you focus on studies and you are then there on the spectrum, instead of trying to make your life more binary by not having that leverage. So that was the first do. I think a few others that I would want to focus on is, given you are in your graduation, I'm assuming you'll be spending your next 2 to 3 years studying. I'm not very sure whether it's a 2-year course or a 3-year course, but in your next 3 years, you'll be doing a lot of assignments, a lot of project work, a lot of group work, and I would urge you to not take these assignments very lightly, because assignments are something which are more than just the task you are doing. A few of the benefits, which it's again a do for me, where I did these things and some of these things, and it was really a huge leg up for me, is one, doing your assignments well gives you a lot of brand equity in your batch, because you do one assignment, do a second assignment, do a third assignment. If you've excelled in all, it just sounds out to the rest of the batch that this is a guy who's not here to make up the numbers. He's here to really put in the effort, and he is something who's someone we should take very seriously. A second thing which has helped me is, again, which I mentioned at the start of the talk, is being good with assignments will probably put you in the bucket with the right amount of people, with the right people who are also serious with their assignments, and you really can do good things if you're in the right set of 4 or 5 students who are doing the assignments together. I think the third and probably the most important benefit, which I have realized after doing my assignments well, is it sets you up for a good work ethic. Because an assignment is not just scribbling something down and submitting it. It's one, assimilating what the teacher has told you to do, to doing research and researching. Trust me, I used to think it was Googling, but research is a lot more than that. And third, putting it in a way where the story comes out right. And storytelling, trust me, is going to be one of the most important skills which you will strengthen as you go in your studies and in your career. Which brings me probably to the second last I think is, while doing assignments, being good with your studies is good, but truth be told, the world looks at marks, and I think things are changing. It's not going to be this way 10 years down the line, but until that happens, you need to score well. The one thing which I used to do to score well in my class was, and you all will have your own hack. The hack I used was, in engineering, we used to have around 6 to 7 subjects in every class, in every semester, and there are one or two subjects which you will like more than the other subjects. And what I used to do was that the 4 subjects which I don't like, or are probably not my most favorite, there I used to study just enough and be good at it to be in the top 15-20 students in the class. And these 2 subjects which I liked the most, I would try my best to be untouchable to a level where I'm having a lead of at least 10 to 15 marks over the rest of the batch. How it helps you is, both these things put together, you being at slightly the head of the bell curve in the 4 subjects, and at the tail end, at the positive tail, in those 2 subjects will always help you in scoring in the top 3 or 5 students in the class. And this is probably the laziest way to be in the top 5 students in the class. And I used it to good effect, because for the we have in engineering you have around 8 semesters. It's always a struggle for the first 6 because everyone is always studying hard. People just take their foot off the pedal because they're always placed at the end of the third year. So last 2 semesters, people try to tend to take it easy. What I did was I took the reverse. I ran the rat race for the 6 semesters, and for the last 2, I really amped it up, which helped me score well and finish in the top few students. So that's something of a hack that worked for me. I thought I'll just share. And probably the last, I left the best for the last year, is whenever we think of studies, we think of marks, we think of competition, and we think of ourselves as someone against the batch. In fact, what I said just 20 seconds back was you pitting you against your batch. While for the marks, it is you pitting yourself against the rest. But the rest of the semester, and this comes from experience, it helped me a lot in whatever I knew, I taught it to my batch. I was probably not good at everything. I was not good at digital electronics. I was not good at electrical, but I was very good at maths 1 and 2, and I was very good at engineering graphics. And similarly, there are a few students who are good at other subjects. I think of this as probably one of the most first instances of positive sum games you will see in your life. Most things we see or do today is competition. I'm an avid sports fan. For someone to win, someone has to lose. I also game a lot. For you to win, someone else has to lose in gaming. But it doesn't have to be that way when you are studying. The reason for that is I realized this during my engineering because I taught engineering graphics. A student who was scoring 40, and 40 was the tipping point. Below that, you fail. Above 40, you've just made it. Students who were scoring 40, 42, who were in the same wing, who were living in my same area, those guys started scoring 50s and 60s. And the students who were good at digital electronics or electrical, those guys taught me that subject, and I started moving up from 50, 55 to almost 60, 65 in scores. How that helps is, one, it improves your bonding with your batch. 2, the average level of your batch goes up. And when an interviewer comes in and interviews your batch, it just helps them realize that every one of the 10 students I have interviewed had a level which was above the average. And you'll not maybe realize this. It's more of a long-term thing, wherein once you start doing it in your batch and start pushing it down the throat of the next batch which comes in, when you give some gyan to them, over 6 or 8 years, you'll realize that the entire batch ka level has elevated. And as an alma mater, you people will really revere you, saying that you are from this batch. And this is really how a few colleges, at least in MBA, have bubbled up other than the rest. And MBA colleges are more student-run than engineering colleges. And this is something I learned in my MBA, that someone taught me accounting, I taught them economics, and that's how the batch went up. So these are a few do's. Maybe I'll take a 10-second pause here in case you guys have any question to ask, or if you have any disagreement, please go ahead.
When you interview freshers, how important are grades for you? And when you interview people who have some sort of lateral experience, does the weightage given to grades go down, or does it stay the same?
A very good question. I think it's a slightly controversial thing to answer, because while in an ideal state, I would have loved to interview that student just basis what that 1 hour performance of his is. But unfortunately, it's because you are taking a bet on a student who is now going to be your employee. You cannot just take a bet on the 1 hour of interviewing that you are doing. You would want to see his history, how he has performed. And while you would not want him to be a 90-95 percentiler, you would want him to be at least above average. probably have a little bit of variance in his resume. And by that, what I mean is, the first thing is, I just read what you said, Ashish. Uh, Maybe he's probably good with his studies. Probably he's good with a few of the hobbies. He's held some leadership role in his college. And the last thing which I test in the last 10 minutes of the interview is what I call the beer test or the airplane test. What that means is, if we were not working and if we were to have a beer tomorrow, are you someone I would want to have the beer with, and vice versa? So these are a few things we look at for a fresher. When it comes to a lateral hiree, a few of those barriers are relaxed. And what we look at is the experience that he has gained, because as you grow, who you were as a person when you scored the marks in 10th and 12th is probably less relevant, because you've changed, because you have done a few transactions in your career. You are now more aligned to what you did in your last 3 or 4 years rather than what marks you scored in your 10th. It is a plus and a minus, but that's how we normally look at it.
Nice.
That brings me to the don'ts. I'm not really proud of laying those off, but I think it would be helpful for me to let you know, so that you do not probably repeat those mistakes, or at least do it at a lower level than I did. I think the first one, and after reading a few books, I've realized I'm not the only one to do it, is procrastination. During college, procrastination really was my jam. Early in my life, I started making timetables. I think since I was 12 or 13 years old, I have had a timetable for my day, how I will spend my day, every 2 hours, hour by hour, in a Pomodoro way. If for the ones who don't know what a Pomodoro is, you split your time into blocks of 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes of break. Elon Musk is probably one of the most successful guys to do it. And I mean, you don't have to do at his level where he does it 21 hours every single day. But I mean, it's something that has helped me. But I realized 2-3 years into making timetables that making a timetable and really following it are very two different things. And I used to always make timetables, but at the end of the day, and even today, I realize that I am not 100% at following it very well. And it's something that has been hitting me since then. I've tried my best to improve on it. But what I've realized over time is that maybe procrastination is not something you can eliminate altogether, but you can reduce the degree to which it makes you inefficient. A few things that have helped me is watching podcasts of this productivity guru called Tim Ferriss. For the ones who don't know, I'm sure you would know about him, but he's probably one of the most productive guys across all things in life. And he interviews one of the best guys who world beaters in their field across many fields. And one of his podcasts said that where he said that I thought that I was one of the most productive guys, but there are days when even I curl up in bed and do not come out of bed for 3 days on the trot. And that's when I realized that it's not just me or a few of my friends who I talk to are someone who procrastinates. It's even the likes of Tim Ferriss who procrastinate. And at the end of the day, it's fine as long as the 80% of the life where you're working hard, you're doing well, procrastinating 20% of the time is fine. The next one is probably something which has hurt me a bit at times is when I start every semester, I start very confidently saying that in this semester I will read every reference book there is. I used to go to the library, take all 7 reference books for the subjects, and by the end of that semester, only one reference book ka one chapter used to be completed. And that is something probably I should have realized early on, that goal setting the right way is really important. Probably there were a few 2 or 3 subjects out of which there were 2 LOCs or 2 chapters which I did not understand well. And those were the ones I should have picked up and not start every semester with a mountain of books saying, I mean, in this semester, I'm going to be a 90 percentiler in the class. That doesn't work always. It's important to start with the low-hanging fruits. Start with the subjects you know well. Read a few chapters of those, and probably then graduate to reading the tougher subjects from reference books. Because you don't have to be during college. You don't have to be a PhD in every subject that you are reading. It's important to have a little bit of depth in every subject, and because how a curriculum is designed, you need to cover a lot of breadth, because you are studying right now. While in your career you can get to depth in one of the subjects you are then working for, but while you are studying, it's the focus is more on breadth than on depth. So that's something I realized more in my MBA, and I made amends where I picked up a couple of reference books for a few subjects and then read them, rather than going for all the subjects. I think which brings me to my last don't when it comes to studies and vocation. And I think I am not alone. There must be a few of you who would think similarly. I always struggled to ask questions in class. It I don't know what it came from. Probably I used to feel timid before asking questions. There were times when I had slight inferiority, that there is a guy who is a CA in class. How can I ask a question that I don't know the basics of credit and debit? So there's more of an MBA example, but during engineering it was similar. For the first 2 years, I struggled with this, and I cannot tell you how fearful I was of asking questions. At the end of the second year, there was a mentor in my life who said, "Go ahead, go ahead, and probably ask one question which you think is easy, and let people ridicule you the amount they want to, and let's come back and discuss it." One day I go in class, make the courage to ask this question, and lo and behold, no one cared. People were literally on their mobile phones doing something else. So that gave me the courage. I came back, went again, asked a few questions, and realized that it's not really that people are sitting there to judge you. Two, it's also the fact that there are times when 10 other students in the class have a similar question, and they're really thankful that you asked the question which they wanted to. So it's really something that has helped me. And in MBA, probably as Ashish said, we used to ask a lot of questions. Things have taken a dramatic turn from my third year of engineering to my first year of MBA, where I started asking a lot of questions. So those were the don'ts. I think a few things which I want to trail off, where a few things which I wish I did more of in this studying career bracket, were making more concrete timetables, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. But I wish I made timetables where I timed my day for only 60 to 75% of work, because the rest 20-25% is taken up by things which come from left field, which you don't know about. I think there's one book which I've read, which has been very helpful in improving my level, is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is one book which has helped me bring in some very good habits in my life, and probably a few things like habit stacking, like rewarding yourself when you do something good on a single day. These might be small rewards, like not doing anything, just spending time on social media for an hour, or maybe if you brush your teeth and then go for a bath, why not just slip in 20 minutes of exercise between these two? So that's called habit stacking. It's really gone a long way in helping me improve a few daily habits. A second thing which I wish I did more of is the art of cold emailing. For the ones you don't know, it's cold emailing is something you send a mail to where you want something from a person you don't know about. Now, you don't know the person who you don't know. The problem there is nothing in it for the person who's helping you out. So how do you write a mail where, one, you get your thing which you wanted, and two, you make him feel that there is something in it for him? So it can be a hook which you write that this is the person I know you from, and he talked very highly of you, or we are from the same alma mater, and this is the reason why I'm reaching out to you, or maybe there can just be something wherein you promise him something in the future that this is in it for you if you help me out. That's something I have developed over time, and as a part of my job, because we are trying to get business, I one of the most important parts of my job is writing at least 15 cold emails every week. And it's really a skill which I have developed. What helps is having a brand leverage. I'll be honest, Avendus being a decent brand, it helps me elicit replies more often than not from people. But any which way, learning the art of cold emailing is something which I wish I did more of when I was in my graduation. I think the third one is leveraging the social media that you have, and by social media I'm referring more to the Twitters and LinkedIns of the world. Both Twitter and LinkedIn are really a treasure trove if you are able to harness it well. Just to give you a couple of examples, my current fitness trainer is someone who I have met on Twitter, and because I'm always into this productivity thing, trying to improve my performance, I'm currently looking for a performance improvement trainer. And even this person, I've met almost 3 or 4 guys. I've shortlisted one, and all of them have been through Twitter. This is just something that is personal. From a knowledge perspective also, just go on to some person you look up to, just look at the people they follow on Twitter, just follow all of them, and then start curating your list from there. The people who you don't relate to, just strike them off. You will meet some new people every single time when those people like someone else's post, and then you can follow this person, and probably that's how you build your feed. You'll realize over a year or two, your feed becomes so rich that every time you open it, you go back taking at least 10 notes in your whatever notepad or Roam Research or Notion, whatever you use as a note-taking app. And I think the last one, which in this entire work segment, which I talked about, is again coming back where I started, is working harder. I think there is really no shortcut, and I've learned it the hard way a few times. I've taken a few subjects easy in my engineering, and I've realized the hard way that there's really no way you can escape working hard. And trust me, there are two types of people in this world. One who are internally motivated. The people who come to mind are Steve Jobs, the Elon Musks of the world, Mark Anderson, Ben Horowitz. In this book called The Hard Things About Hard Things, he says that I don't understand people who don't work hard every day of the week. I'm like, dude, what are you saying? Why would that be something that comes to me very naturally? So again, that's because I'm not someone who is internally motivated. The reason why those people have reached where they have and have attained the success they have is because they're internally motivated. For the rest of us who are not internally motivated, there are a few hacks you can use to motivate yourself. For me, I'm a deep sports fan, and for me, what has worked is probably watching a video of Cristiano Ronaldo where he's taking a free kick which just goes in. Probably watching a goal by this Chelsea midfielder called N'Golo Kante. He's just nonchalant about scoring. Whenever he scores goals, he's just nonchalant about it, goes back to his place and starts working hard again. There are times when I'm feeling a little less motivated. These times I watch videos by Zlatan. He's probably one of the most outspoken, self-confident guys, bordering on overconfidence. But that, I think self-belief is something which is really important when you are working hard in life. And Zlatan has really helped me a lot. One video which I have seen and I go back to again and again and again when I'm wanting a little dose of motivation is this video by Harsha Bhogle, where he's giving a speech in IIM Ahmedabad, his alma mater. And I think it was some commencement speech around 2008, 2010. I don't remember the year exactly. But there are two things he mentions in this video. Is one an example of a swimmer and an example of a cyclist. The example of the swimmer is that the swimmer who's an Olympian becomes an Olympian not because he swims very hard when the whistle goes off. He becomes a good swimmer, because he was ready to enter into the pool at 3 a.m. in the night when everyone else was sleeping. And that had very profound effect on me while I was studying, and I realized it's something that I should look at, because your exams are not testing you. It's a 6 month before the exams when you're working hard. The rest of the people are not working as hard as you, is when you really go above them. The other example he gave was of a cyclist. At that point in time, I think it was Lance Armstrong who he was talking about. The story ended tragically, but at that point in time, he was everyone's hero. So he said that the cyclist who wins is not the one who sprints hard on the 24th of July at the Champs-Élysées. And for the ones who don't know what Champs-Élysées is, it's the strip in Paris on the 8th arrondissement where you are declared a winner in this race called the Tour de France, which happens annually. And all the cyclists cycle very hard to cross the finish line there. So what he says is that it's not when you cross that line is when you're a winner. It's when not everyone wants to cycle and you are cycling in -2, -3 degrees in the Alps is when you are actually winning that competition. So these are a few things around studies, vocation, and career, and these things had a huge effect on me. Maybe I'll just take a 5-second pause. The next 3 segments are slightly shorter, so I don't think I will cross the 10:30 limit. But I'll just take a quick 2-minute pause here in case anyone wants to ask any questions. Please go ahead.
It would seem not.
Sure.
Adya agrees with you about the. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Harsha's speech was fantastic.
Yeah. I think there are times when I really don't want to watch a cricket match when the opponents are beating us black and blue, but it's just because Harsha is commentating is when I want to watch that other team batting. I remember a few games where Kevin Peterson scored a huge double century, I think, at the Wankhede. It was only because of Harsha Bhogle I could live those couple of days. That brings me to the second bit, and this is also a second pillar which has probably helped me grow well, and that's personal development. When I talk of personal development, there are 2 or 3 things that I'm referring to. It's your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and a few other things like money management, being good at speaking and storytelling. Trust me, I've not mastered that skill myself yet. I'm still a work in progress there. But the first thing, physical well-being, I think it's something that I wish I knew when I was 18. I did not pay as much attention to working out as much, looking after myself as much. And at the age of 26, 27, when things were going a little downhill is when I realized that you need to really pay attention to things like your posture. When we are 18, we're all very cool. We want to just take our laptop, sit on the bed, slouch a little bit and keep working hard. But when you're 26, it's something really that hits you because you don't want to have your back problems when you're 26. And another thing which I've realized when after working out for the last 4 or 5 years now is that it really helps you build a set of discipline in yourself when you do that every single morning. And it doesn't take a lot really. I mean, you can always take out 30-45 minutes of your day to work out, do a little bit. And to test whether you're doing well or not, it's just there are a few things which you can do. I mean, can you do 10 or 20 squats? Can you do a couple of pull-ups? Can you do 10 push-ups? Can you do a plank 30 to 45 seconds? If you can do all of this, probably on the fitness level, you are way above average. And the last thing, which I think is slightly controversial and probably not the most perfect, but when you are working out well and you are well groomed, it's a sort of leverage. Whenever you sit in an interview, whenever you talk to people and you're in a business boardroom, wealth, being rich is an unfair advantage in life. Being fit is also an unfair advantage in life, because it will set you up for being in positions where you are always at an advantage. And that's something that I've realized over the last 4 or 5 years, and I thought I'll just impart that gyan into you. The second bit around physical well-being is probably the three set rule that I follow is, while workout is important, the most important probably is your sleep. The second most important is your nutrition, and the third most important is your workouts. So just follow that pattern. Sleep 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day. If you can follow your nutrition well, and I think you should be set for life. The second important thing around personal development, which I have done, is doing meditation. Meditation is something which when I started meditating, I thought it will just bring me enlightenment. In 10 years, I'll be Gautam Buddha. 6 months into meditation, I realized it's nothing like that. The claims of meditation probably are not that profound as are being claimed to be. But what it helps you do is it helps you be in a state of focused awareness all through the day. And how it helps you is over time, when you are working or when you're driving a car, it's not that you're focused on the task. There are times when you are thinking 10 other thoughts. And doing meditation since the last 1 year, I use this app called Headspace. It's just 10 or 15 minutes of meditation every day. It has helped me control my thoughts and focus on something that what I have been doing, and give a slightly better performance in that. I thought that it's not a huge benefit until I realized I saw this video of Bill Gates. I think it's on Hotstar, Inside Bill's Brain or something like that, where he says that Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were both asked one question at the same time, as in, what is the one thing that has taken you far ahead in life? And if you have to point just one thing, what would it be? And both their answer was focus. And focus is something that has helped me as well put in a 10-15% better performance. Obviously, I don't have the intellectual largesse those guys possess, but at the level I can, it has improved me a lot. The third is money management. I think it's really important to set those good habits about money right up front in your life. The easiest way I have seen, and I'm not going to give you gyan on please manage your money well, because you've heard that cliche hundreds of times. If I have to give you one tip, which is probably actionable, is try and make your personal 3 financial statement model whenever you can. By that, what I mean is, see how your profit and loss looks. You may not have an earning because you're a student now, but what you spend on, just put your expenses at the end of the month together and see what you have spent at the end of the month. As you learn the basics of finance and the basics of 3 statement model going ahead, just try and make a complete P&L statement for yourself, where you have your earnings and your all your costs, and you come down to your profits. Then flow these profits into your retained earnings, as in retained earnings will go down for you guys because you're not earning right now, but as in when you earn, you can put those earnings income in that P&L and have a balance sheet for yourself. And the balance sheet can have gifts you have received, assets you own. If someone has gifted you gold, the family likes to do that, you can put it in there. If you made some investment, that can be in your balance sheet. And the third one is the cash flow. How much cash flow really goes out or comes in every month. For me, I started with this when I was 23, 24 years old. And today I have a personal financial statement which is almost 15 sheets large. You don't need to do it, but I think there are some real good benefits in making that personal financial statements, because I have one sheet for insurance today, as in what insurances I have, what is my health cover, what is my life cover. If tomorrow, unfortunately, something happens to me, this Excel is something I have shared with my parents, because those are the nominees. If my someone has to claim my life insurance, those are the ones I can just share this one Excel to them and they can claim it. There is one sheet for personal improvement, how much money I can spend on personal improvement. That can be anything, buying a subscription for Rome Research or buying some Udemy or Coursera course. What is my allotted budget for spending on these? There is a sheet called financial freedom. Basis the money I am earning today, what is the month and year in which I can leave my job and not worry about not working if I don't have to. So these are a few sheets I have added in my personal financial statements, and this is something you can also make. Start with a 3 financial statement model and probably build on sheets as and when required. So that brings me to the end of my second segment, which was personal development. The one note I have made here is join a Toastmasters. I haven't done it myself, but my brother has, and I've seen really good improvements in him since he has joined a Toastmasters, in the way that he can construct sentences much better now. He's not afraid to speak in front of the family. If he wants to lay out some problem, he just lays it out, says, this is the problem I have, I want it solved. How should we go about it? He used to be slightly in a shell earlier, but it's something of a huge improvement I've seen in him. It improves your spoken English as well. To be honest, I was really not up to the mark when it came to my personal spoken English. How I improved it was watching a lot of movies and series. For all the bad name that Kevin Spacey has made for himself, you will really do good to see a few movies and series in which Kevin Spacey has featured. The two which come to mind the most are one, Margin Call, the way he addresses the people in the room and telling them that you are now going to be fired, and still making them feel pumped up to sell the assets that they had to sell that day. And the second one obviously is House of Cards, probably one of the most impactful series for me where it comes to improving my English. There are times when I download and when I first saw it, I used to use a VLC player. We didn't have streaming back then. I'm sure a few of you must have used VLC players then. I used to download a subtitle file, put the subtitle file, and pause the video whenever he used to say something which used to sound profound, note it down in my notepad. And till today, I have like almost 300-400 phrases which I have noted down, and I visit them time and again, and it helps give you a leg up whenever you are making conversations. So that brings me to the end of the second segment, which is personal development. I'll just take a pause again for 10 seconds. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Hello. I
Hey,
have a
hi, Parag.
question. Hello.
Please go ahead.
Like you said, we should focus and like we should do our work. So like that's very easy to say, but doing it is really difficult. So how to really do it? Ki, matlab, we know ki what to do, but how to do is the real question.
Sure. I'm assuming you are mentioning about studies here in terms of achieving your goals. It's really something, like I said, I have struggled with for the first 2 years of my engineering, and it was really difficult. And I realized this fact that it's a slippery slope. Because you haven't studied for 10 days, you start realizing that 10 दिन अब पढ़ाई नहीं किया है, 2 दिन और enjoy कर लेते हैं. There is this thing called changing your habits in 21 days. wherein any thing which you do for the first 21 days, it will kill you. And really, this what you're talking about studies, I have faced it in de-addicting myself from social media. There was a time when I couldn't go an hour without visiting either Instagram or Facebook. And there's this book I read called Atomic Habits, which I mentioned. There are 3 or 4 things which you can do to improve yourself in improving your habits. And you don't have to start if you did not study yesterday, you don't have to start with studying 10 hours today. You can start with probably putting in 50 minutes, maybe 1 hour, 15 minutes of studies in day one, and probably try and improve it for 5 minutes every single day. And over time, you will realize that things have improved. And how this book will help you, it will teach you, I think, 3 or 4 concepts. If you're trying to bring in a new habit, studying in your case, you need to do 3 or 4 things. I don't remember each of those 4 things exactly, but I think the first one was make it obvious, meaning keep the book in front of you every point in time, such that it doesn't go out of your sight and out of your mind. Second, make it obvious, make it attractive, which means just give yourself a reward if you're studying for 50 to 60 minutes a day. Third, I'm forgetting the third and fourth one, but these are 4 skills. Once you read that book, you'll realize that it's very difficult. But if you start small and if you stack that habit with a few other things that you do, over time, it's a 1-year thing. You might be able to improve yourself, and that's something I've used to good effect over my life.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else, or if I can move on to the third one, which is friends and family. I think given we are almost close to the end time, I will probably focus on the 2 or 3 most important points here. In friends and family, I think it's really important, one, to have a good set of friends. It's a cliche, but it's really it has gone a long way in improving myself, that the 5 people you spend your most time with decide your nature and your behavior. I think it's really important. In this friends and family section, I'm also including the networking and the mentors bit. Networking is something with your friends, with your batch, is something which is really important to do, because at no other point in time in your life will you be in a group of people where you are studying together, where you have a commonality, and where you can discuss on a common topic or a common concept or or if you're just bitching about someone, there is nothing really which will come even close to putting 200 or 300 people together. So please use this network very well. This is just the college network. Apart from the college network, you also need to now, at this age of between 17 to 20, start improving yourself in reaching out to people outside your college network. Join groups which are, if you're doing your CFA has this CFA Society India called a group wherein you can just discuss finance topics. There might be a Toastmasters club, that's also a networking avenue where you can start networking. And over time, you'll realize that networking is something which puts you in good stead, wherein you can by serendipity or by focused effort, you can always go and meet new people, and you never know which person might be helpful in, one, giving you a job, two, teaching you something which has changed your life dramatically. So that's on network. I think the other most important part which I wanted to discuss here was mentorship. I think mentors are something, some are people who have really improved my life from a level where I couldn't have even imagined. The first mentor I met was during my college, and I think this person was someone who saw that I'm studying hard, working hard, and is someone he can invest his time in. So a tip for you guys: whenever you are looking for a mentor, and trust me, it's a very tough skill to master, looking for a mentor, but it's a really important skill wherein a mentor can help you elevate your level in probably 1/3 or 1/4 the time you would do yourself, because this person is senior to you. He would have seen a few things which you are not seeing right now, and he can just guide you much better. A mentor helps you in your professional life, personal life, improving your skill sets, improving your habits. uh, One of the mentors I've, like I mentioned, I met him during college. He was a senior to me. The other mentor which I found was during my work, and again, so both my mentors were more serendipity, because I was at the right place at the right time. I found them. But joining these different groups, networking groups that I talked about, increases your surface area for getting a better mentor in life. And please don't take this very lightly. It's a really important pillar of your life, and really important for you to go ahead. Um, I think that probably were the two most important points which I wanted to touch upon in friends and family. Brings me to my last segment, which is others. These are just a few pointers or thoughts which I wanted to highlight, which you can probably go back and either hear or listen to, which might one get you motivated to improve yourself in your skill sets, in your life, in anything you do. So the first one, I think there is priming your day. I think, Paras, this is something which you should probably go look at. There is this YouTuber called Beer Biceps, or Ranveer Allahabadia. I don't really love all his videos, but there are a few sections of his videos which are about fitness, which are about improving yourself in your studies. And there's one specific video which is priming your day. It's really something that has helped me a lot over time. Priming your day means setting a set of routines, or pumping yourself enough at the start of the day that you can go through the day completely motivated, doing the things you wanted to do. Setting your routine might just be doing a disciplined set of things every single morning when you wake up. And pumping yourself up can take any form. For me, it is watching videos. There is this song by Eminem called "Lose Yourself." I used to watch it a lot before going to any exam. It used to just pump me up really well before exams. So watch this video by Ranveer. I think it will really help you go a long way in priming your day up and following through upon it. The second thing is, obviously, during graduation, things are tough. It's important to take time off occasionally. There is this YouTuber again called Ali Abdal. Again, he's a productivity guru. He's the YouTuber version of me of Tim Ferriss. And there he talks about something called as the write-off principle, wherein occasionally, once a month, you can just take a day and tell yourself that today I'm not going to do anything, and take that time off, watch a few videos, watch a few movies, spend time with family. And doesn't mean you have to work 16 hours a day the rest of the month. I mean, this day is just for yourself. You can spend time in the garden, not do anything, just take a leisure stroll. And this effect is called REITOFF. It's a pun, write off, where you're writing off the day. And doing this has really helped me recharge my batteries. I do it once every fortnight, and helps me recharge my batteries for the next 15 days. I think the next one was do definite goal setting. I think reading books is something I was very inconsistent at, and someone told me that just start reading one book and have a single goal, saying that don't have your goal as I will read books. Have your goal as I will read 5 books this year. For some of you who read a lot of books, 5 books is probably a lower number, but to start off, 5 is a good target to have in your first year. if you don't know which book to start with, and if you're not an avid reader, I would highly recommend reading this book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. David Goggins is probably one of the most considered the fittest man on earth, both mentally and physically. And reading Can't Hurt Me just told me how privileged I am to live in a country like India, being in a financial situation. Maybe you are middle class like I am, but that's such a privileged position to be in. Having a family, having a set of friends, it's something that we should never take for granted. And just read this book end to end, and trust me, you will come out of this book as a different person. The next one, I think I mentioned it earlier. Please take notes to the extent you can. We all think that we will remember things, but we're not as our brain doesn't act as well as we think it is, and we definitely forget things. It's always important to make notes always. The next one is around watching podcasts. So this is something, had I known when I was in college, I would have worked really hard on it and watched a lot of podcasts. But in today's day and age, when you have the likes of Spotify, Stitcher, and so on, it's just easy to learn from others' experiences and improve yourself by not making mistakes a lot of other people did. A few of the podcasts which have helped me a lot is the Tim Ferriss podcast, the podcast a podcast by Naval Ravikant, which is named Naval. Please go watch this watch this podcast called How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. It's a clickbaity title. It's a 3.5 hour long podcast, but he touches upon all aspects of life. A few of them which I have mentioned on this call as well. But it's a really good video, and this one video has upped my level a notch in life. I think the last one which I want to talk about is probably make a weekly timetable. Now we're in a day and age where newspapers are not very common. You don't really read newspapers on a daily basis. But newsletters and Substacks and mediums are something which are becoming mainstream now. Now that's a good thing because distribution has become easier. Someone who's sitting in Indore who writes very well, you can just read his articles sitting at home. But with it also comes something of a noise, which means a lot of people now start abusing it, and you don't know what to read, what not to read. What I have done to sift myself through the noise is I have created a weekly timetable for myself, wherein on Monday I will read these three newsletters and hear these 2 podcasts, and I have set this timetable for every day of the week, and I give a writer of a newsletter 3 chances for him to write to interest me with his articles or her articles. If those articles are not good enough 3 times in a row, I strike that writer off, and then that gets replaced with a new Substack article or a new Medium newsletter. I think that was it. To just trail it off, just want to let you know that probably the one thing which has helped me a lot, apart from all that I have mentioned, if I have to bubble it down to one pointer which changed me, it was goal setting always. So I think of things like this, that when you are thinking of doing a task, always have the work ethic of, and I'm a sports fan, that's why I'm giving a sports reference here, always have the work ethic of a Cristiano Ronaldo. Have the zen and the tactical awareness of N'Golo Kante, and have the self-belief of a Zlatan. That's really important for you to succeed in life, and it's something that has helped me. Sorry for the guys who are not sports fans. Maybe if I'm on here next time, I'll think about a better example, but that's something that has helped me in good stead.
Ajinkya, thank you so much. My problem is I got the references, but That's wow. That's some ambition. Taking the best of those three players is
Of course, you shoot for the moons and you land at the stars.
true. True. Excellent. So once again, first of all, thank you so much for making the time. And boy, there was, especially the personal finance and the exercise thing is something I need to get better at myself. It's good to start learning from the habits that you've picked up on over the last. This has been since 2014 or since undergrad?
It's the three statement model has been since 1 year since I left college, and increasing the sheets has been recent, last 3 or 4 years.
I will not want to think about how much money I spend on Zomato and Swiggy. That's what I think I'll leave it to my team.
Yeah, the other, I think a few months back, a few of the Domino's entire database got leaked, wherein someone could put their phone number and see how much they had ordered for. And my wife put in her phone number there, and she was like, I have spent ₹500,000 eating Domino's pizza in my life. I'm like, my God, 50,000 rupees on Domino's pizzas.
Wow.
No, I was going to say that. So we do this financial statement thing at home, and I kid you not, the amount at the end of the month when you realize how much you've ordered. No, at least first 10 days of the next month you try not to order, because you just like, the memory is so real that it's like itna bhi nahi khana chahiye bahar se. Like, forget the money, the fact that it's like from outside, and then the rest of the time you're trying to get fit, and then you're just eating from outside, and so it's
1 day of eating out beats 7 days of hard work and push-ups that you've done. I agree.
Though unfortunately it doesn't work the other way around. If that would, I would eat ghar ka khana roz and not exercise 1 day of the week. But no, but you've given such amazing content. I mean, like, even the references, and I'm sure, I mean, not only for the students, I'm talking about myself only. There is so much more to read and listen to. It's fabulous.
Thank you. Glad I could help.
Yes.
Questions. Anshi has one. How do you cope with burnouts?
How do you cope with burnouts? So, just to give you some context, investment banks are really brutal. You would have seen a few movies around it, and while in my first 3 or 4 years of my career, it was very similar. I regularly did 80-hour weeks. Might sound less because we have 168 hours in a week, and 80 hours might sound less, but doing the same thing for 80 hours, there were times when I had clocked 100 hours in my office. It is really brutal, and I have faced burnouts multiple times in my working career. I think the first thing people advised me there was, don't worry, the hours don't get better, you get used to it. But I mean, that's not the answer that you're looking for, I'm sure. One thing that has helped me coping with burnouts is going back to do something which I know I have control over. It can be, so I love watching Marvel movies. Every once in a week, I just go and watch Iron Man or the Avengers or any movie. I like to see a little bit of animated movies as well. So I just pick up one Pixar movie and watch it. Just helps you take some time off. There are a few books which keep me pumped up during the time of burnout. And a few of the videos I have already mentioned. There's this movie called 8 Mile, which is the life story of Eminem. That has helped me a lot cope up. I have really made a playlist of the songs I hear. For the ones who are into music, you would know that Beatles is a band which has a song for every mood in life. If you have had a breakup, if you're happy, if you're sad, if you've gotten a new job, you can hear a song of Beatles for every mood there is. I have tried to replicate that by creating a Hindi playlist for myself, which I call the Hindi Beatles playlist, and I hear that whenever I'm feeling a little low or burnt out.
Can you share it, please?
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
Of course. Let me share that with Ashish. I think Ashish, I'm sure you must be on Spotify.
Yep.
Because I had seen a tweet from you on Spotify explaining an economics concept. So I'm assuming you're on it.
The pricing, yes.
Yes, the pricing. So let me share that with you. I think that has helped me a lot. Otherwise, I think taking time off is the biggest thing. And secondly, speaking to my mentor, who has gone through this multiple times over, where he's guided me as to that. Just take the time off, sleep for 8, 9, 10 hours, and then come back, and then we'll go to it again. Today, I think back in the day, 2010, 11, when I was doing my engineering, it was really difficult if you're burning out reading those big fat books. It's difficult to go back to it again the next morning. Today, you have a lot more resources to learn from. I mean, you can just open a Khan Academy video and learn that same thing through video if you are burning yourself out reading things via books. But yeah, taking time off and speaking to people, especially my mentor, has been the most helpful.
But there's a question on specific pointers on writing effective cold emails.
Sure. I think this is...
Ajinkya, sorry to interrupt you. Are you okay to go up until 11? We'll stop at 11 if that's okay with you.
100%. I'm
Great.
okay.
All right. Yes, please go ahead.
Few specific pointers. The first thing I do is I give a reference to them. I think given we are in the times of pandemic, 100 things have gone wrong. One thing which has gone right is you can always now start a mail by writing, hope you, your family and your team are doing well. That just sets up an initial bond with the person you are talking to. Second, you can just give a quick 2-liner about who you are and why you are reaching out. Do not leave it for the rest of the mail. Just leave it in the second or the third line that X is the reason why I am reaching out to you. For me, it's getting business. So I just say that I am very interested in this sector and I would really like to know your business because I think we can partner together either strategically or in a fundraise manner. The third thing, which probably is more important, but it should still come after when you have told them why you are talking, is what is it exactly that you bring to the table when you are getting when you're writing a mail. For me, what I bring to the table is there are a few things a firm does not know how to do. For in my specific line of business, it is fundraising. Fundraising is a very different art than running a business. So I tell them that these are the things we will do for you. One, we will create your story. As a company, we will help make you presentations. We will create a business plan for you, which is a financial statement model for 5 years. We will help you distribute your business to investors, which are 100 investors in the US, 100 investors in India. And thirdly, we will help you get the best investor rights as a founder that you wouldn't otherwise get if you are not married to us in this transaction. And then the last part is where you trail off by telling things about them which you have read or heard or seen, or a feedback that you've received from someone which led you to reaching out to them. So just sandwich things with one, talk a couple of good things, give your intro, tell them what do you bring to the table, and trail it off, because that's the last thing they're taking off from this mail, is what you have heard good about them and is the reason why you would want to know more. So these are 3 or 4 things which has almost had a good strike rate for me. There are times when people still don't reply. You can't help them. In our line of business, a 20 or 30% hit rate on cold emails is considered very good. So those are a few pointers I can think of at the top of my head.
How underrated or overrated is brevity in all of this when you're writing a cold email?
No, the problem with brevity is while in most things people will like that you reached out and you were bold, it's slightly dependent on the reader. So because you don't know the personality of the reader, because it's a cold email, by definition you don't know the other person well. I tend to err on the side of caution by not having as much brevity in my emails. But if you are reaching out for something which has a large amount of people, like in business, if I'm reaching out to an edtech company, I know there are only 100 edtech companies which I can reach out to. So if something fails, there are not too many tries I have left. If you're doing for something for personal mentorship, you can always you can always add an element of brevity in your mails, because you know if it doesn't work out, there's always someone else. So it really depends on the type of end goal you have there.
Right. Arko asks, and Arko, my apologies, I forgot to call you back. I remember you had called. I'll call you as soon as this call is over. But Arko's question is, can you elaborate a bit more about how to form a network? The emphasis being on from scratch.
Got it. Okay, so how I just talk about this from experience, and this involves an element of money as well. Some years down the line, you don't have to shell out a bomb for it, but how you start with is, one, during your college, reach out to a lot of people, talk to the rest of the batch. There are always things which can be common between two people, any two people in your batch. Make the extra effort to the extent some people may call you a people pleaser, and I am a people pleaser to a fault. Go to the extent of reaching out to them, talking to them, telling them things that you know about, and building that bond in you. A college is the easiest platform for you to build a network. Once you are done with your college, when you're nearing your second or third year, I think what I mentioned earlier is joining clubs. That is something which is very, very important. I have joined a few Twitter groups wherein people I met there, I gave them a few pointers which I was knowledgeable about, and they realized that yes, this guy knows something that we don't. Why don't we add him to our WhatsApp group? Doing that, I have added myself into a few finance groups wherein it started with finance, but we started hanging out together, not talking just about finance, but other things as well. And one thing led to another. There was a time when this guy from one of the groups told me that there's a new job opening. Why don't you apply? And I applied to that job, and it worked out. So yeah, your college is one. Your on Twitter, you can always respond to people, and there will be times when people say that there is a WhatsApp group we have. Why don't you join it? Telegram is something which I have found to be a very good avenue for building a network. You join some group, you start replying to people. Over time, someone will notice. It slightly it takes time. There are times when I have contributed to some groups for a year before people started noticing me, and it has worked. Again, joining clubs like Toastmasters, again, this involves an element of spending money, because you're trying to get into an elite circle, which comes at a premium. So Toastmasters is one. CFA Society, if you give this example, CFA, at the end of the third exam, you will be able to join this society called CFA Society India. Through your friends, always be open to conversing with new people. When you join your first job, I think that is one good avenue for building a network as well. I remember in London, there was this person who used to sit beside me. He was an MD in the team, and he used to listen to a lot of AC/DC. It's a I think an Australian band, and I really had no clue about what this band did. I went back, heard 15 songs of this band, and just to make a conversation with this person. And again, not something I would recommend for everyone, because doesn't always work. And then I struck up a conversation saying that these are a couple of songs I heard. What do you think about it? And then he started speaking to me. One thing led to another. I joined his team over time, and it worked out. So there is no one Brahmastra wherein which will definitely work. But these are a few things: your college, your job, your friend circle. Read this book called The Defining Decade. And I should have mentioned this earlier. It's a book by Meg J. She's a psychologist. From what I remember, I'd read 3 or 4 years back. She talks about building networks in that book, and that has helped me a lot improving my network as well, and joining these premium clubs such as Toastmasters and CFA.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think Arko, taking cue from Ashish, I would recommend you not referring to me as sir. It's something that has worked out well for me. It just helps creating bond. And I don't need to tell you that Ashish, if he hasn't already, will say it during the course of the year multiple times.
I have, and I'm glad to say that some of them have already started to address me as Ashish. So thank God for that. And also, as a final recommendation, as if he hasn't given enough already, this is a list of recommendation that Ajinkya had sent across last year. This is just when the lockdown had started. So if you think you haven't got enough recommendations from Ajinkya, then there's another set that he's already put up. Awesome.
Wow, I should go back and read some of this myself. It's been a while.
Yep. And I remember, I think you had mentioned at the start of this blog about the whole Ashish sir thing also. But it's something we honestly need to change in this country.
Yeah. 100%.
Wow. 90 minutes. And Ajinkya, thank you so much for taking out the time. It means the world to, I'm sure it means the world to the students, but to me as well. There's a lot I have to read now. I'll try and find the time.
No, really glad, Ashish. I think to be very honest, like I've already mentioned to you on message, things that you have taught us. I think the lectures I have attended, both the GB classes, it has changed my life. And I mean, I've literally stood on shoulders of giants like you to reach the little bit of success that I have. And I mean, my small way of paying it forward, I think it doesn't even come close to what you have given us as a batch. And you're one of the reasons why Prashant, Vipul, and I bond so well today. So I think it just pales in comparison to what you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, that's nice. I mean, it's nice is a weak word, but it's very kind of you to say so. Thank you so much.
Happy to come here.
All right. And sorry, one final question.